Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, in the previous class, we have started with the chapter that is the fundamental unit of life, cell. And we have understood that why it is called as a fundamental unit. See, this is that smallest unit this smallest unit of an organism through which an organism is made up of. Means every organism is made up of a very small unit, a basic unit, a structural and functional unit that we call as a cell. We have seen that how cell get discovered by Robert Hooke, by how the compound microscope has been discovered, what are the different types of discoveries that occur, series of a discovery occur in order to understand the cell more easily. And we have also understood that how the dead cell, see Robert Hooke, he saw the dead cell of a dead cock cell, and Leeuwenhoek, he has seen the living cell. Understood? Cell, it was first discovered by Robert Hooke. Later on, it was seen by Leeuwenhoek with his microscope, primitive microscope. Then Robert Brown came. He has discovered the nucleus, which is an important part of the cell. And then Purkinje. So Purkinje, he coined the term that is protoplasm for the fluid substance of the cell. Now let us see that we have seen here one more thing, student, and that is the cells are of a different shape as well as size. So have you seen that the cells, they do not look alike in terms of the shape and size? Yes. Does all the cell they look like they are in structure or in the shape also? No. The kind of similarities that we find is also different. Now see here, when you look at the cell, student, there are different types of cells are present in the same organism. Like if we talk about us, so we all are made up of a cell. So does all the cell used to perform the same function? Does all the cells this used to look like similar? No, they are of a different shape, they are of a different sizes. Some organism, they are having the cells of a different kind, and while other they are having the different kind. Like if you see here in this picture itself, student, first of all you will see the smooth muscle cell. Smooth muscle cell, that basically it is an involuntary one which help in the contraction and expansion, but this is an involuntary. When I said involuntary, means it is present in the internal organ, in the visceral organs, where there is no our control, we are not able to control it. So such kind of a cell is the smooth muscle cell. When you look at the structure of the smooth muscle cell, it is ball, it is having a tapering ends, and it is having, it is what, it's a kind of a elongated and elongated with tapering end are there, and nucleus is also present in it. Second one is the blood cell. Blood cell, red blood cells are there, small spherical. Red blood cells are actually the smallest cell present in a human body. Although the smallest cell is mycoplasma, that is of a PPLO, but in human body, red blood cells are considered to be the smallest one. So red blood cell, small cells of a spherical shape. Then the nerve cell is there. So nerve cells is like an elongated. Nerve cell is considered to be the largest one in case of a human being. So nerve cell, it is an elongated, as you can see in the picture itself, it is having dendrites, it is having axon, and the nucleus is also there. In between you will find that myelin sheath is also present in it. Then ovum, a single large spherical like a structure present in the female body is called as ovum. And this ovum is what? It is also a single cell. When it fuses with the sperm, it will help in giving rise to a zygote. So this is a single cell right now. Then bone cell, which we also call as osteocyte. So bone cell is also a small one. Sperm is there, student, mainly found in the male. That is also a gamete cell. Fat cells, adipocytes are there, student. Adipocytes used to store the fats in it. That's why it is called as a fat cell. It basically help in providing the cushion to the body. So by all these things, what we have understood here, that every cell is what it is, different from each other. Now the shape and the size of the cell, they are related with each other. And they used to, why they are different from each other? Since the structures are different, so they have to perform the different functions also. Like, even if you will see that in case of a amoeba used to change the shapes. In some cases the cell shape could be more or less fixed and peculiar for a particular type of a cell. For example, nerve cell. So, nerve cell, they are having a typical shape. We know that they are actually branched, they are having dendrites, the dendrons are there which help in carrying the information from the one neuron to the another. So, the shape of the nerve is what it is always remain fixed. Now, each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions that are the characteristic of all living forms. How does a living cell perform these basic functions? We know that there is a division of labor in a multicellular organism such as human being. This means that different parts of the human body perform different functions. The human body has a heart to pump blood, a stomach to digest food, and so on. Similarly, division of labor is also seen within a single cell. In fact, in each such cell has got certain specific component within it is known as cell organelle. And each kind of a cell organelle perform a specific function, such as making new material in the cell, clearing up the waste material from the cell, and so on. See, what is here it is asking, it is telling students, actually it is explaining that every living cell is having the capacity to perform the basic function. And a living organism, see, here is the division of labor. What is the meaning of a division of labor? Suppose I will not going to take an example of a human body, but yes, you can take an example. Suppose a play or a drama is there, or you have been given any kind of a responsibility. So suppose if you have to do all the things, suppose you have to perform a play. So what will happen if suppose every role and everything is given to you, then what will happen? There will be a lot of a workload will be there on you. Similarly, if the same work has been distributed to the different people or the different student also, ultimately that will help in reducing the workload from you, and that is the division of the labor itself. Similar in case of the of our body also, every part of our body used to perform the different function. Like heart is assigned, our heart, it is assigned or it is specified for pumping the blood. Then small intestine is there for digestion. Kidney are there in order to filter that of the water from it. So for the process of the filtration also. So basically, every part of the organism used to perform their own specific function. Similarly, such kind of a division of the labor is also there in that of the egg. Okay, in that of the cell. Sorry, in that of the cell. So in the cell also there are the division of a labor, there is a division of the work, and there also the work are assigned to the different parts of the cell, and these organs which are present in the cell perform the different function. They are called as a cell organelle. Okay, so cell organelle used to perform some special function, making new material, also help in perform, like if we talk about the mitochondria, it help in performing the generating the ATP. If we talk about the lysosome, that will help in clearing the cell. If we talk about the Golgi apparatus, it will help in producing that of the vesicle and lysosome as well as the vacuoles. If we talk about the endoplasmic reticulum, that will help in releasing a lot of a hydrolytic enzyme. Okay, so every cell organelle used to perform the different kind of a function here. So what happened here, there is a division of the labor. One is not going to perform all the function. Now see here. Here it is written that each kind of a cell organelle perform a special function, such as making new material in the cell, clearing of the waste material from the cell and so on. A cell is able to live and perform all the function because of these organelles. And these organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. It is interesting that all cells are found to have the same organelles, no matter what their function is or what organism they are found in. See, the cell is what? It is able to live and it is able to perform all the function. All the cell, they used to live, they used to perform the different function. And these organelles, these cell organelles, they used to combine together, they used to constitute together and form the basic unit which we call as the cell. Actually, like in our case also, what kind of a level of organization is there in a living organism, students? So you will find that we are made up of a cell, then the cell combine together to form the to the tissue and then organ. Now the different organ, they combine to form the different organ system. Like us, we are made up of a different thing, legs, hand, head is there, even internal organs like that of a heart, small intestine, kidney, liver, these all are what, lungs, these all are the different organelles which used to perform the different function, and they are located in our body. Similarly, in case of the cell also, the cell is having the different organs present in it, which we called as a cell organelles. Okay, these are called as a cell organelles. Now these organelles, they constitute together to form the cell. Okay, so they used to perform the function and they used to basic unit of the cell it is, and they used to perform the function in which the organism they found it. What is cell made up of and what is the structural organization of a cell? We saw above that the cell has a special component called organelle. Remember that there is no difference in that. The organs which is a part of the cell which used to perform the different function in the cell, that is called as organelle, that is called as the cell organelle. If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across the three features in almost every cell. If you look at the cell of any type, doesn't matter we are taking a unicellular organism cell or a multicellular, three things are common in all the different types of the cell. What are that? First one, plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. Second one, all activities inside the cell and interaction of the cell with its environment are possible due to these features. So see here, plasma membrane is there, nucleus is there and cytoplasm is there. So every time we will find here that any cell will be there. These cell consisting of the plasma membrane, this cell is consisting of the nucleus as well as the cytoplasm. So other cell organelles are also there, but this is what it is a common which is found in each of the cell. While all the other activities, it will be performed by the cell with the interaction with the environment also. Now let us see how the different function will be performed by the cell as well as the organelles which is present in it. Let us start with the first one, which is really very important to know, and that is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane or cell membrane. This is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment. Outermost covering of the cell. When you look at the cell, see, when we talk about the plant cell, yes, there is a cell wall which is the outermost, but afterwards cell membrane is there. In case of an animal, we know that a cell membrane is there, which we also call as a plasma membrane. So we will take here, it is the outermost covering of the cell, and this outermost covering of the cell used to separate the content of the cell from the external environment. So from that of the external environment, it will be easy for us to separate it, or it will be separated with the help of a partition, with the help of a layer that is called as a plasma membrane or cell membrane. Now what is the role of the plasma membrane? So role of the plasma membrane is given here, that is plasma membrane allow or permit the entry and exit of some material in or out of the cell. Second one, it also prevent movement of some other material. The cell membrane therefore is a selectively permeable membrane. The plasma membrane, it allow or permit the entry and exit of some material. See, the plasma membrane, it is in such a way, it is a selectively permeable membrane. And because of the selectively permeable membrane, it will allow few material to enter or to exit that of the cell membrane. So it do not allow all of the material, but it only allow the few of them to pass through it. And because of that, it is a semi-permeable or selectively permeable membrane. So why plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane? Because it allow or permit the entry and exit of some material in and out of the cell. How does the movement of the substance take place into the cell? And how do substance move out of the cell? Here the question arises, okay, plasma membrane is there in order to allow the molecules, the substances to enter or to leave the cell. But the question arises here that how this movement of the substances take place in the cell, or how do the movement occur outside to that of the cell. So some substances, like if we talk about carbon dioxide or oxygen, this can move across the cell membrane by the process called diffusion. See, if we talk about the gases, students, so gases like carbon dioxide or oxygen is there, they also passes through the cell membrane, and the process here, it is diffusion. So with the help of the process of the diffusion, they used to get diffuse outside, or they used to move from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. What is the diffusion? Diffusion, it is the movement of the molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So the gases, it can be easily diffused with the help of a cell membrane. We saw that there is a spontaneous movement of substance from a region of high concentration to a region where the concentration is low. Yes, student, obviously, if suppose you have taken two tanks, one is filled up to the mouth and another one is filled at the bottom, and then if we will connect both of them together, what will happen? We will find out the water start flowing from A to that of B, and the reason is that since A is what? It is of a higher concentration than that of the B. So the substances starts moving from the higher concentration to that of the lower concentration, from the region of a higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration. Something similar to this happens in cells when, for example, some substances like CO2, which is a cellular waste, and requires to be excreted out of the cell accumulates in high concentration inside the cell. In the cell's external environment, the concentration of CO2 is low as compared to the inside to that of the cell. So, in case of a substance, suppose we have taken a substance like CO2 is there, which is actually a waste, and that should be excreted outside to that of the cell. Suppose it accumulated in a higher concentration inside to that of the cell. Yes, how this carbon dioxide is formed? Maybe through the process of the respiration. So through the process of respiration, carbon dioxide is released. Now this carbon dioxide is present at one region. Now what happened? The carbon dioxide starts accumulating, and obviously due to which the concentration of the carbon dioxide keeps on increasing at a particular region. And just opposite to that reason, the percentage of the carbon dioxide will be less. That's why it is written that in the cell's external environment, the concentration of the CO2 will be low as compared to inside to the cell. So at one place, the same way, see, it is like that at behind that of the wall, or just front, or just near to it, or outside to that of the cell, or outside to that of the wall, the CO2 is what concentration is low here. So what will happen? At one place the concentration is high, the other place the concentration is low. So the movement of the material, the movement of the gases, or the diffusion of the gases will take place, where from the high concentration of a carbon dioxide to the low concentration of the carbon dioxide. And difference in the concentration of the gases inside and outside of the cell will make the movement of the carbon dioxide from one concentration to the other concentration. So as soon as there is a difference of the concentration, carbon dioxide start moving out of the cell. Why out of the cell? That is from the region of a higher concentration to the region of a lower concentration, and the process which is involved here, it is the process of a diffusion. So we can define now the diffusion is what? Movement of the material from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. Now see here, it is already given here that movement of the carbon dioxide from the cell from the region of a higher concentration to the region of a lower concentration outside the cell by the process of diffusion. Okay. Similarly, if we talk about the oxygen, now the oxygen at one end, means outside to that of the cell, is level is more than the inside. So what will happen? The oxygen also start moving from the higher concentration, that is from outside the cell to inside to that of the cell. And the process, it remains the same, that is the process of a diffusion. Okay, so process of a carbon dioxide, it is movement from the inside to outside, and the process of the movement of oxygen, it is from outside to inside. So this is how the diffusion process take place, and this is how the movement of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide take place from one part to the other part. So we can say here, this is the one way, that is the process of diffusion, by which the material can be kept, or can move or can transfer from one concentration to the other. So if there will be a concentration gradient, then only the material and exchange of the gases can take place through the process of diffusion here. Water also obeys the law of diffusion. That is, the movement of the water also occur from the higher concentration to that of the lower concentration. But here there is some change. See, the movement of water molecules through such selectively permeable membrane is osmosis. This is really important line, student. Movement of water molecule through such a selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. So when the material start moving from a higher concentration to lower concentration with the help of a membrane, and that membrane is a semi-permeable membrane or a selectively permeable membrane. Such kind of a movement is called as osmosis. So there is no change in the diffusion process or osmosis. Only the difference is, in case of a diffusion, there is no such selectively permeable membrane is there, but in case of a osmosis, there is a selectively permeable membrane. Movement of water across the plasma membrane is also affected by amount of substances dissolved in water. Thus, osmosis is the net diffusion of water across the selectively permeable membrane towards the higher solute concentration. Okay. So, osmosis is what? It is nothing, it is just a diffusion process in which only a semi-permeable membrane is there. So, movement of the water molecule from a higher concentration to lower concentration through a selectively permeable membrane is osmosis. In the next class, we will try to understand what is endoosmosis, what are the different types of osmosis, which will include the endoosmosis, exoosmosis, and what will happen if suppose we will kept a cell whose concentration or who is having the different concentration gradient.